This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, guys, welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag. It is Thursday, January 12th, 2023, and yeah, I know, it sounds a little echoey, and the sound isn't great, so I'm recording from parts unknown. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get myself in trouble, so let's jump into the emails, and this is from Rocky T. He says, checking in once again, it's Rocky T, so let's begin. After watching the video package on Cody Rhodes, I believe if it is his destiny to win the WWE title, he should earn the title shot by winning the Rumble, but he should also do it from the number one entry spot. It's been some years since we saw someone win the Rumble from the number one spot, and I think it would make his second return even more epic than his WrestleMania return. So I don't have a problem. If you're going to win the Rumble, I mean, then you can truly say that, you know, you did outlast 30 other men. You defeated 30 other men, right? Like, that's as close to it being accurate as you're going to hear from everyone else who's going to claim that they beat 30 other men if they're, you know, they're entry 30 and they only have like 3 people in the ring. That's such a preposterous claim. But I think the last person to do this, was it Rey Mysterio? I think Rey Mysterio was actually the one that was last there to win in like 07 or 06 or something. Anyway, I'm watching Kofi versus Santos Escobar on SmackDown, and thinking of Kofi's longevity, I'm glad he got his WWE title run and how he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Then the camera pans over to Xavier Woods, and I think New Day may be in the Hall of Fame the same day or someday as a group, making Kofi a 2-time Hall of Famer. Then my brain rounds off the current 2-time Hall of Famers. 8 wrestlers have been inducted twice, individually and as part of a tag team or group. Ric Flair, HBK, Booker T, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Sean Waltman. Waltman's 2 introductions were both as a member of the group DX and the NWO. You can add Triple H to this list as soon as he is inducted individually. If Evolution is ever inducted as a group, that would make Randy Orton and Batista a 2-time Hall of Famer, pending their sole inductions, and Hunter and Flair 3-time Hall of Famers. Then I thought of something you said, and something I believe is an absolute, and that is that everyone eventually returns to WWE. AEW stars that will and should return, even if it's just to be inducted into the Hall of Fame: Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan Danielson, Christian, Cesaro, Moxley, Saraya, and Matt Hardy, as well as CM Punk and Jeff Hardy, who are not currently on any roster. Do you agree with this list? Am I forgetting anybody? No, I think that's a pretty good list. You know, I mean, I don't have the AEW roster in front of me right now, but I think that's absolutely fair. And all of these individuals are deserving. I can't really dispute this, I gotta say. But all right, it's rapid fire time. First, to give him his 3rd ring, do you think Sean Waltman will ever be inducted individually? That's a good question. I think he's deserving. The problem is, I got to say this. He has the majority of his identity in a group. I'm actually going to say no, because he didn't really have a singles career per se. It was always in a tag team or in DX or in the NWO. I don't think he'll be individually in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's a case to be made, but when your identity is mostly, that's a better word, in a group, it's difficult to say. Like, Triple H had a Hall of Fame career as a solo guy, but he also had a Hall of Fame career in a group, whereas X-Pac had a Hall of Fame career in groups, not individually. So I think he probably doesn't. 2, Do the Brothers of Destruction get inducted as a tag team and give Taker and Kane a second ring? I think very possible, yes. Very possible. Brothers of Destruction, one of the best tag teams of all time, probably, arguably, one of the best storylines WWE has ever produced, ever. So yes, I would say that's very likely. Third, based on the bloodlines run so far, do you think someday they will all be inducted into Hall of Fame, individually and as a group? Ooh, as a group, they're already there, I have to say. I think they're, even if they ended today, I think it's borderline Hall of Fame. They're going to continue probably for another year or so in some form or fashion as a group, because they know that this is a group. This chemistry of a group does not happen very often. So I think that they are going to definitely be inducted as a group. As individuals, I think that the Usos will be inducted as a tag team. So that's 2 for them. Sami Zayn will be inducted individually, I believe, at some point. So there's 2 for him. Solo Sikoa, the jury's still out. Obviously, Roman Reigns has 2 in the bank right there. I mean, Roman Reigns could honestly have 3 if they really wanted to. The Shield, individual, and the Bloodline. So, Roman Reigns probably has 3 already locked up. All right, 4. I believe Edge and Christian will be inducted as a tag team, thus making Edge a 2-timer, but do you think Christian will ever be inducted on his own to make him a 2-timer someday? Yeah, so, and yes, I know you're the co-host for the Rumble review, so looking forward to that. But Christian, I have to say, I think sometimes WWE gives away the Hall of Fame title too easily. So I don't know. Christian did have a nice solo career. Was it Hall of Fame worthy? You put a gun to my head, I'd say no. But he's to me a tick below Hall of Famer. Really good career. Anyone would sign up for that. But I don't think it's Hall of Fame worthy as an individual. I guess I hold it to a higher standard. So, all right, Rocky, thanks so much. Let's get to our next email, and it comes to us from Mr. DJ Kuzmo, and let's see what he's got to say this week. And he says, hello, WWE and AEW family. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again in your Mailbag show. Let's get on with the show. Here we go. All right, number 1. Now, Matt, I know you're not a fan of Cody Rhodes talking about his dad and possibly winning a undisputed Universal Championship, but to me, it's just WWE creating an awareness for Cody Rhodes possibly winning the Rumble and possibly challenging winning the championship against Roman. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, just because I don't like him doesn't mean I don't see the writing on the wall. I totally agree. I mean, to me, this is, I hate to say foregone conclusion, but it kind of is. How much promotion are they doing for Cody over the last few weeks? It's been a lot, and it's no secret he's on his way back. It's been no secret he's going to enter the Rumble. It's been no secret that he's a heavy favorite to win the Rumble for the last 6 months. So yeah, he's absolutely in the conversation. But there's also rumors out there that Roman is going to be forced to drop the WWE title so that Seth and Cody can have a match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, and Roman faces The Rock, so Roman doesn't have to do double duty. So that right now is a possibility. Number 2, did I miss something? But this tag team turmoil fatal 4-way match was for the Usos tag team titles and not for both titles. I didn't understand the logic since the Usos are technically both on SmackDown and Raw. Shouldn't it have been for both titles? Okay, DJ, now I'm confused. If they said that it was supposed to be for just the Raw tag team, I assumed it was just for, since they unified the belts, it's just for those set of belts that have been unified. I didn't know that they said that it was for the Raw only. If that's the case, then have they split them? And now you've confused me, DJ. But it's possible I didn't, I totally missed that part on Raw. Number 3, Bayley needs a challenger. It's kind of boring watching her at times. To me, her most relevant was when she was feuding with Sasha Banks 2 years ago, and now, of course, Sasha's no longer with the company. Yeah, I've said this for weeks too. Bayley feels very boring right now, and to me, it's the most boring she's felt in a long time. Now, she's super talented in the ring, on the mic, so she could turn it around quickly. This is not a career ender by any stretch. But it's it's just weird seeing Bayley in such boring segments on Raw where you just don't care. I agree. It's just like, what is happening? So I hope that at the Rumble, she makes some noise. And then after the Rumble, she gets into a program that feels more important. Same with, honestly, with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, not on Raw. No one really cares about this program with Bayley. It's very odd that we don't care right now, but I think that'll change in the next couple weeks. On the flip side, Rhea Ripley is built up strong every single week, bailing out her precious little boy Dominic and looking dominant in singles matches on Raw. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, that's why I've said I still believe that Rhea Ripley's going to win the Rumble and challenge Bianca and take the belt at WrestleMania. I don't think that's a stretch to say. I think it's probably likely, and I'm all for it. 5. Speaking of little boy Dominic, I enjoyed his new gimmick as Prisoner Dom. This seems very refreshing and entertaining because his gimmick is like an entitled punk kid that acts tough but cries for his mommy. Yes, it's exactly right. By the way, if you remember Conan from WCW, or if you Google him, he also too had that prison look, and also Rey Mysterio had a similar gimmick while in WCW before he started wearing a mask. So I guess you can say that Dominic is connecting the past and present with his Prisoner Dom gimmick. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too. I wasn't, as you guys know, and maybe you don't, but I didn't really watch WCW. I was primarily a WWF guy through and through. So, but I do remember flash images of that, of Conan and Rey Mysterio, and I don't think many people have made that connection, honestly. So that's a nice pairing you got there. 6. Would be safe to say that it's time to turn the Alpha Academy as baby faces since their current losing streak and the huge pop for Otis Caterpillar on Raw. Yes. In fact, that would balance out the teams in which Hit Row just turned heel. So there should be a equal and opposite reaction on the babyface side. Now the Alpha Academy turns babyface. I'm all for it. And you know what would really help is if they actually got victories individually and as a tag team. I don't think they've won a match in like 3 months. It's embarrassing. So 6. Would be safe to say, oh, and by the way, the Dom gimmick, awesome. It is perfect for him. This kind of tough kid when he has backup, says he did hard time, but he's just a fraud. Like, I love this. And I don't mean it, I love it where I cheer him. I still want to see him get his ass kicked. It's a perfect match for him. He's got the slick back hair, the toothpick, the handkerchief, acting like he's this big tough guy who just went through 15 years of solitary confinement or something. It's just brilliant. So 7, what is her name exactly? Is it Mia Yim or Meechim? It's like she doesn't have a clear identity or gimmick or how she fits on the main roster. And for the most part, Emma, Johnny Wrestling, and Candice LeRae, who are they? What are they about? This is something I need to see Triple H and Creative improve on for 2023. Well, that's assuming that Vince McMahon doesn't take himself over and the rumors about Saudi Arabia purchasing WWE and that people thought was confirmed, but it's not yet. And Stephanie McMahon leaving, and people saying that, well, Stephanie McMahon left because Saudi Arabia doesn't want a woman on the board of directors or in any kind of management role, which is preposterous. Okay, I've got so much to say on this. I'm going to kind of table my discussion about WWE and Saudi Arabia until it actually happens, because otherwise it's speculative, but I'll table that. That said, if Triple H is in charge of creative in 2023, I think he will address this. And this just goes to show you, like, as much as we have praised generally Triple H's efforts in creative, it's never perfect. It never will be perfect, because you can't focus on everything all the time. It's impossible. So you're going to have things like this happen. And I agree, Candice LeRae, completely, Emma, they don't have Johnny Wrestling being just a narc. It's not a good thing. And Meechim or Mia Yim, I was told that Meechim is her true name, her birth name or something, or just like I don't know. It's like her real name is Meechim, but Mia Yim is what they've translated to in English. I guess that's how I understand it. One more thing to mention, Robert Roode is on his way back from major surgery on his neck, and at some point this year he might be returning to WWE. That's all for now. DJ Kuzma signing off. Peace. Robert Roode, I think, if he comes back, That's fine with me. I mean, I don't see him as a main event player, but I think he could have a nice, like, kind of run at the Intercontinental or US title. I don't see him as a big player, though. As fun as his entrance is, he's kind of a one-trick pony. Like, it's glorious, and that's it, right? Like, his song is very catchy, his entrance is good, but that's about it. In the ring, he's solid. He's got a great body, but he's never been able to really connect with the audience in a lasting way. So I think that's going to be his Achilles heel. All right. Thank you, DJ. We'll get to the voicemails momentarily. Let's see. We've also got some other patrons who have messaged, and let's get to them. Let's see here. Let's get to the G-Man. Haven't heard from G-Man in a while. So he says, I wanted to talk about the Rumble. I want to talk about on how much I've been enjoying WWE since Triple H and Steph have been running it. I wanted to be positive on here. Unfortunately, tonight, this has been the saddest, angriest night I've had. My heart is absolutely broken. Vince just killed this company. That ego piece of crap couldn't stay put and let his family run it. There's going to be so much I'm going to be saying about Vince, but I'm keeping it PG as best I can. Now we know why Steph left, because we know how the Saudis treat women. What the hell is going to happen with the women's division now? My God, what about Sami Zayn? He's most likely going to be released now because he's Syrian, and Saudis don't get along with Syrians from my knowledge. Sami's having the best run of his career, and now it's not looking good for him. I'm so damn worried. I can see a lot of the talent walking out. I don't blame them one bit. This is such a damn shame, and man, I feel so bad for Triple H. He did so much to put a good product out each week, but can't save this. I'm in absolute tears and really wanted to be excited for the Rumble. I wanted to be excited for WrestleMania. I don't know how to get excited now. I'm angry, I'm sad, but hey, Vince got what he wanted, and F him. The man is Thanos. He snapped his finger and got away with everything. That son of a blank got away with it. He literally beat God again. So long, Triple H. Just says screw it and resigns to sad, sad night. Okay. All right, G-Man. I'm going to try to calm you down here a little bit. Number one, it's not confirmed that Saudi Arabia purchased WWE. All right? Nothing is confirmed. I know that there were a lot of reports out there. I know that there were a lot of speculation. There was some sources that said WWE was purchased by Saudi Arabia. But you know what? WWE themselves have not said anything yet. There's been nothing official. So until that happens, I want to kind of talk you off the ledge. Even if it did happen, say it did actually officially happen, right? Well, if Saudi Arabia purchases WWE, and they are very interested in making money off of their investment of purchasing WWE for how many billions, wouldn't they want to maximize what they make out of that investment? And if they want to make the most out of their investment, how would it help them to kill the women's division? They may not agree with wrestlers who are women performing in their home country. But guess what? 99% of the audience is not in Saudi Arabia. People would bail out of WWE so quickly. Can you imagine the backlash from fans and stockholders and shareholders if they just outright killed the women's division in today's climate and political culture? No. It would not behoove them at all to kill the women's division. As much as they may not agree with women and the roles of management and everything and performing in front of fans, keep those laws and beliefs to your home country. Like we abide by, WWE abides by whatever country they go to, the culture, the rules, the regulations of the country that they're performing in. And most of WWE's performances are in the United States. And Saudi Arabia would be shooting themselves in the foot in a massive way if they were to just kill the women's division. Okay? Now, Stephanie McMahon resigning from WWE may not be because the Saudi Arabian government is telling them that they don't want women in management or the purchase doesn't happen. I mean, that may be internally what they're thinking, but I think Stephanie McMahon left because she doesn't want to be associated with a government that has treated women the way they have for so long, and then we're supposed to just celebrate in the streets and have parades for the fact that they allowed a women's match for the first time ever in the country just a couple of years ago. We're supposed to celebrate that it took that long? I mean, let's be for real, okay? Like, that's to me, I didn't celebrate that. That's sad. That's, when people are like, oh, Lacey Evans, and I forget who her opponent was. It might have been, I don't remember. Lacey Evans versus someone, whoever it was, the first women's match, and they're crying in the ring, and it's like, yeah, okay, this should have like, why are we celebrating this now? This should have happened like 100 years ago. What? It's not an accomplishment to be 100 years behind what you should be doing. That's embarrassing. So like, if they want to implement the rules and regs that they do in their home country for the shows they hold in their own country, have at it. But if they start messing with and implementing their political beliefs and their view of women into United States live events, good luck with that. Good luck with that. You talk about a loss of revenue. It would just be ridiculous. And Stephanie McMahon, I think, saw the writing on the wall. I don't want to be involved with a government like this, the way they treat women, and just didn't want to be involved. I mean, the Saudi Arabian government is no innocent party in not just the way they treat women, but other scandals and everything else, okay? You just do a Google search for the Saudi Arabian government, and they aren't exactly, Mother Teresa, all right? So... but I really want to talk you off the ledge. I mean, who knows what this means? Vince, I think, maybe just wanted credit for the sale and wanted to oversee the sale. And maybe he'll force his way back into creative somehow, which I think all of us are not going to be happy about. But let's let it play out, all right? Triple H is still here. WWE is not sold yet. Stephanie may be gone, but we still don't know exactly why. She can frame it. It's hilarious, her tweet, okay? I went over this in detail, but like her tweet was, well, the company's in such a strong position that I decided to leave. What, like what do you mean? That's an oxymoron. Why would you leave a company that's doing so well? It was really just completely telling that there's way more to it than, well, the company's doing so great, Stephanie left. Nonsense. So, talk you off the ledge, G-Man. All right. Let's see here. Let's get with Jeff Hay, and he says, hey, WWE Universe, I can't imagine WWE without the McMahon family. I thought all of this calamity was possibly an angle and develop a storyline towards WrestleMania. An article from Clutch Points is stating that WWE has been sold to Saudi Arabia and the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, which now makes a WWE a private company. I have an eerie feeling this is going to tank the business like how a non-wrestling administration cannibalized WCW. Also, everyone knows the annual token Middle Eastern pay-per-view never makes sense and throws a wrench in continually for all storylines. Essentially, Matt, what is going to happen? I feel like the sky is falling. Again, I mean, you can listen to my response to G-Man with your concern as well. We all need to take a breath. We all need to take a step back. All right? As much as Vince McMahon, we feel as fans, should just walk the hell away. Vince is not going to kill his creation. This is his baby. This is his life. If he's going to sell it, he's going to do it the right way. I really believe that, okay? I don't want Vince on creative any more than you do, but Vince, first and foremost, is a businessman. Vince didn't just, step and fall accidentally into the success of WWE, okay? It was strategic. It was smartly thought out. It was... it was a labor of love. It was, it was his life and is his life. So I don't believe Vince McMahon is just going to essentially can the company. I mean, like, I really don't think so. So I want to talk you off the ledge too, Jeff. I mean, I'm not a fan of Saudi Arabia as well purchasing WWE, but let's let the cards fall where they may. Let's let the chips fall where they may. Let's just see what happens before we all start to panic and like our hair is on fire. All right, I don't have any hair, but if I did, it wouldn't be on fire yet. All right. So I'm taking the more calm and wait and see approach because it's easy to get into a panic and realize, oh my God, Saudi Arabia, they don't believe in women's division. Stephanie left because of that. Like Triple H is going to be gone. Vince is going to be back in front of creative. This is going to go to hell. easy to panic, but you have to understand if Vince is overseeing this, and there's a lot of executives that are overseeing this, they're going to do what's in their best interest, and the best interest for the survival of the company. Who would benefit from just completely throwing this company down the drain? Nobody. So there's a lot yet to know, and I have said from the start of this all, since Vince was rumored to come back, he came back, appointed himself as chairman, Stephanie leaves, the Saudi Arabian government is believed to have purchased WWE, but it hasn't happened yet. We are in for many more twists and turns. Many more. We have a lot more steps to go, and then we can discuss. All right, on a lighter note, has anyone else ever realized that Ricochet is pretty much Top Dollar's mini-me? It's funny how they're feuding right now, and it just so happens they look like they could be father and son. I didn't think of it like that, Jeff. I'm going to take a closer look. That's funny. Finally, I'm guessing my number one guy, Randy Orton, will have a return at the Rumble. I really hope he strays from Riddle, being that Riddle is now an aimless, boring character making lazy pothead jokes. What do you see the company doing with Orton when he returns? That he has nothing to do with Riddle? There's a couple ways they could go. Again, it's killing me that I don't know if The Rock is coming back, because Randy Orton could go right into a program with Roman Reigns. Why? Because think about when he left. The story was that the bloodline beat him down so bad that he was out. He's been out and injured. So, it really just, here's the thing. I think that he probably gets himself involved with Riddle quickly, and they could have a match at WrestleMania if Riddle comes back too. But they could also just jump Randy right into a Roman Reigns program. So, and I haven't heard anything either way, though, if Randy Orton's coming back. It's been radio silence. P.S. The sale of the Saudis would rationalize Stephanie's resignation and that she's aware she would not be respected as a female CEO, therefore getting out of Dodge before that's ever an issue. Yeah, I mean, I continue to address that. I don't want to repeat myself there, but all right, let's move on. Thanks, Jeff. All right, next up is Miller from beautiful South Africa. Happy New Year to you all. Hope everyone is doing well, and 2023 is going to be an insanely good year. First, I'm curious to know, I got my dad involved in WWE for the first time ever in the sense of buying stocks in WWE. It's been going up and up for a while, and a massive 22% jump over the weekend. With everything going on and a possible sale, will that be good or bad for stocks in WWE? Okay, I am not a financial advisor. I am a fan. I have purchased WWE stocks in the past. That doesn't make me a stockbroker, okay? I'm not here to give you financial advice. However, my speculation is that if the stocks jumped when Vince McMahon returned, the stockholders have a different interest in WWE than the typical casual fan. Because the casual fan, just broadly speaking, is not a stockholder in WWE. Okay, they don't own shares. Most, I believe, don't own shares in WWE. We just watch the product, we purchase the merchandise, we buy the network, but we don't own shares. And I point that out because the shareholders are looking at this from purely money. They're not looking at it from a creative perspective of, oh my God, Vince is taking back creative, this is going to be awful. They don't care about that. They look at the bottom dollar. They look at what could this mean for the company. And with Vince coming back, I think that from a business perspective, that gave investors confidence, and it gave them encouragement, and it gave them a sense of security that if they are going to sell the company, Vince is going to do this right and maximize the dollar. Okay, so money is how I'm looking at this, not creative. So if Vince comes back, right, the shares jumped immediately, like $20 a share, from like, I don't know, it was like 70 something to 80, 90 some dollars, right? Whatever it was. I would say, this is just my personal opinion, not professional investment advice, that if the Saudi Arabian investment fund does purchase WWE, they're going to do it for an exorbitant amount of money. A lot of money. Probably purchase the company for more than what it's worth today. Because money is no object to them. You see how much they pay them for their Saudi Arabian Crown Jewel events, Greatest Royal Rumble events. That's the reason they go there, because they get a stupid amount of money to go there. So for them to purchase the company, imagine how much they would pay to purchase the company itself. So all of me saying that means I believe shares will jump much more if Saudi Arabia purchases the WWE, because I believe they will over-purchase for the company, meaning the company's value will be driven up, and that means share prices will be driven up. That's my best guess. So, okay, also, I was just wondering, Kevin Patrick's comment about nobody kicking out of Deep Six, I was wondering if he wasn't maybe thinking about the end of days, which for a very long time nobody kicked out of. Yeah, I'm gonna, hopefully that's the case, but that's a kind of a big mistake to make. I mean, only one person ever kicked out of Deep Six, right? I think it was at WrestleMania this year. But yeah, I just, Kevin Patrick just says things that are just sometimes ridiculous. So it's hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. And Deep Six, nobody's kicked out of Deep Six. Well, the thing is also Deep Six and the End of Days are two very different looking maneuvers. So it's very difficult to mix them up. So whatever, you may be right. I finally got a TV again and ready to start following WWE like usual and in keeping up with all the great content out there. Just for interest's sake, everyone always talks about who will win the Rumble, who the last four will be, or even surprise entrants. I always love the moments where two people who never get the chance to, or with a lot of heat, meet in the Rumble. For example, I think Ray will return at the Rumble. It'll be interesting to see him enter and meet Dominic in the ring and how that'll play out. Another is if Edge doesn't return before Beth doesn't return. So if Edge and, maybe I'm reading this wrong. If Edge doesn't return before Beth and they're at the Royal Rumble, are they both entrants in the respect? I'm not sure what you mean. So I tried to read that. So I'll just say if Edge and Beth return at the Rumble, Beth meeting Rhea or Edge meeting Finn for one of the Judgment Day. What scenario are you excited or curious to see will happen during the Rumble match? Cheers for now. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Miller. The Rumble's always fun. I mean, the Rumble is just kind of it's one of the best matches of the year. And Michael Cole said it's his favorite pay-per-view of the year. Many fans say the same thing. And it is a great concept. It's so much fun to watch because you never know who's going to come out. And also there's those mini storylines within the big story. And WrestleMania matches begin at the Rumble. Like Shawn Michaels' Undertaker began at the Rumble. I think it was WrestleMania 25. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker the year before were like the last two entrants. And then in 2010, they met at WrestleMania 25. Anyway, my point is, these little mini storylines within the story are so much fun, like you said. Ray and Dom will probably have an interaction there. Brock Lesnar could be a surprise entrant and come face to face with, I was going to say Omos, but I don't know where Omos is. Edge, obviously, and Finn Balor. That storyline's been kind of played out too many times for my taste, but that's probably likely. Same with Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley. Beth Phoenix could be the one to come out and come face to face with Rhea, absolutely. So there are so many different things. I mean, I honestly haven't sat and thought about all the stories within the stories that could develop, but it's a fascinating thing to think about. And it's one of the best parts of the Rumble because like the story changes every like 5 to 10 minutes. It's like a new dynamic, a new mini story's happening. It's so cool. So, all right. Thank you, Miller. Let's see here. We've got Mr. Dennis McGinley, and he's back, and he says, "This is Dennis McGinley, the top of the line of the WWE podcast. I'm back, the hater you hated. I'm still your number one heel. Nothing's going to change that, you kids." So this gets me excited. So you sent me a YouTube link, and it says that this gets me excited because one of the top 10 wrestlers that are retiring in 2023, I hope, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. I got that link off of YouTube for all think I'm just blowing it out my blank. Yeah. So I'll click on that link in a minute. I really don't think that Roman Reigns is going to retire in 2023. It's very unlikely. And I'm not saying that you're blowing it out your ass, okay? I see what you're saying. But it would really not make sense for Roman to do this. Why? Because he's got the greatest schedule of all time. You know, like even if he wasn't champion, he's got an awesome schedule. He's getting paid top dollar, no pun intended. He doesn't have to compete every time he comes out, so he's saving his body. He gets to see his family and make millions of dollars while working like one day a week. You know, he is, or really one day every few weeks, doesn't come to Raw, comes to SmackDown every 3 weeks, works every other pay-per-view. I mean, he's got the schedule of a lifetime, and he's got the schedule that preserves your body that a lot of guys don't get. It doesn't make sense. It would not make sense for him to retire. You know, despite what your YouTube link may say, and again, I know you're not blowing it out your ass. I believe you, but I don't agree with whoever is trying to make this case. I don't. I know that you're not a fan of him, but the fact is, whether you love him or hate him, he is the top guy right now, and it's just a fact. And I think WWE would do anything and everything to keep him around because they know his value right now. He's in the prime of his career. He's in the part of his career that you make highlight packages out of when you're in the Hall of Fame. So, last thing, I like your take, Matt, and all the 10 that may retire in 2023 and what WWE roster would look like going into 2024. Would you and Anthony do a podcast on this topic? Interesting to hear you both and him talk about this and what it has in store for WWE. Talk with you next week. For all of you that hate me or whatever, you dumb numbskulls, FYI, but Raw and SmackDown the second night is a lot better. I'm out. Go Packers all day. Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, football's coming up, the playoffs, but yeah, we could add this to our agenda at some point. I think it's a fascinating thing to look at 2024 for 3 letters only in MJF. For me, I mean, that to me, MJF in 1 year's time, we'll be talking about him possibly entering the Rumble. I hope, because MJF is an invaluable piece to the puzzle. It's not an essential piece, but it would be. You talk about like a totally breath of fresh air in the company. My God. But yeah, who's going to retire in 2023? I think Rey Mysterio. I think Rey Mysterio is absolutely on the list there, especially if he retires going out after having a match with his son. I mean, where does Rey Mysterio go from here, right? He still can perform. He's not embarrassing. Why would you stick around to embarrass yourself as your body deteriorates? And what better way to go out than having a match against your son at WrestleMania? So I think Rey Mysterio is absolutely retiring in 2023. I'd have to go down the list, but that's one for you. All right. So I think we have a couple more emails, and then we'll get to the voicemails. Let's see here. This next email is from Thomas Franco, and he's from Montreal, writing in again. And he says, after hearing about the Vince McMahon news, I thought about what it would mean for Triple H as head of creative. Does he stay with Vince? Does Vince really dislike the way Triple H is running creative? I know Vince thinks his way is the best way, but maybe seeing the reactions from fans or increasing SmackDown viewership has left him believing in Triple H, and he'll just give his input but not touch anything. We'd all like to believe that, but Vince is very hands-on. Vince is an alpha male, for better or worse. I think that he wants what's best for WWE, but I also think that since he has been around yes men for the last 40 years, that he probably believes that his way is the best way. And it's going to be probably a lot of self-restraint in order for him not to take over creative. In terms of the product, I read that Bo Dallas was backstage this past Monday Night Raw. I also heard that whoever is playing Uncle Howdy is kayfabing everyone backstage and is walking around in full costume to keep the employees and talent guessing. I now have no doubt that this is Bo Dallas, and I'm assuming we'll get a reveal at the Rumble. Yeah, Bo Dallas is candidate number 1, and as I mentioned last week or the week before, Bo Dallas hasn't been in WWE in how many years, and he's the most relevant he's ever been. How hilarious is that? But I agree, the Rumble should be a massive step in the direction of the Bray Wyatt storyline and likely a reveal of who Uncle Howdy is. I agree. But by the way, the longer this Uncle Howdy thing goes, the bigger the expectation of who it is. So they better reveal it quickly, or the expectation is going to be through the roof, and then it's going to be a disappointment, whoever it is. Also, we got Adam Pearce telling the Usos that the winner of the Tag Team Turmoil match will face them for the Raw Tag Team Championships and not the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Maybe this is a ploy to get the Raw belts off of them and to get the Usos to stop showing up on Raw, or it'll continue the story building up of the eventual stripping of Roman of the WWE Championship. That's all I have for now. Looking forward to talking with you after the Chamber for the review show. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for also reminding me again. Do that every week, please. Seriously. You're the second person to say this. How did I miss that? So I think what the possibility is here is, now that you're the second person telling me this, it must have skipped over my very perceptive brain, and it is only for the Raw Tag Team Championships. But how can that be if they're unified? Even if he misspoke, it doesn't matter if he misspoke. It doesn't change the reality that the belts are unified. However, it's pro wrestling, and what they'll do is, if the Usos lose, they'll say, oh, well, it's only for the Raw Tag Team titles. You know? I have conflicting feelings about that because, number one, it'll keep the streak alive for the Usos. They'll still hold gold. It'll also put gold in a group that already has a ton of heat, which I like. But also, the tag team division it's never always it's never the focus of WWE. And I have been a fan of and continue to say that the tag division should have a unified championship because of how little they usually focus on tag teams. But this is interesting. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get to our final email here. And it is from Phil Gray. All right, Phil, and you say, hey, Matt and WWE Podcast, hope all is well. I was not at all surprised at Steph's resignation. Vince is power hungry, and I think all the new things that have happened since last summer will tank. I saw that all the talent are now worried that Vince is back. My hope is nothing changes. If they sell, then Vince just goes away for good. I did read somewhere that some potential buyers will only consider if Vince is there. There are constant rumors saying Saudi is the best option. That would mean no more Sami Zayn. Then this picture is doing the rounds, and it made me laugh. Yeah, that's funny. What I'm looking at is a picture, photoshopped, but hilarious, of Stephanie and Triple H in the crowd taking a selfie, and in the background at this wrestling event has the AEW Dark on the Titantron. That's hilarious. That's great. Yeah, maybe the Saudi Arabian government, if they wanted to sell for the best price, said Vince needs to be involved and we're not doing this negotiation. It's possible. Again, guys, this is all speculative. We're not in the room. We're not in the production meetings. All we know are the news outlets that report this, right? Like, we don't know the ins and outs and intricacies of what's going on, you know? So, all right, the Rumble coming up. The idea of Edge, Balor, Hell in a Cell match was rumored. If Edge returns in the next week or so, do you see that happening? Yes. And I think it's worthy of Hell in a Cell, given what they did to his wife. Yeah. But that better be it. And that's the only way that it would be mildly interesting, given that Edge has returned against the Judgment Day 4 times, is that they go to the absolute pinnacle of possible matchups and match stipulations of Hell in a Cell. Yes. I can see Bray Wyatt, LA Knight being a good match and getting answers. I think the light will be the same as when he does his promos. I hope this is good. I also hope the gimmick matches. I also really don't like the gimmick matches that much. I agree. And to be honest, if it's that dark, it's not safe for the actual competitors. You can't see what you're doing. So I'm sure they've taken this all into consideration. On top of the fans, hopefully just booing the hell out of this. I'm sorry. If they do it to the point where it's like hard to see, I hope the fans boo it out of the building. Because that is just, I'm tired of the nonsense gimmicks, with Bray Wyatt specifically. So, the gimmick matches, I should say. All right. WrestleMania is reportedly the fastest selling in history. The expectation of The Rock is telling in tickets. This surely has to bring him back. Well, I think every WrestleMania has sold out. I mean, it just because it's the fastest selling doesn't negate the fact that even a slow sellout still is a sellout. But it does tell you that people are anxious to get themselves into WrestleMania with the expectation that this is going to have a potential Stone Cold match, a potential Rock versus Roman match. I mean, the rumors could be absolutely helping with the rate of ticket sales. But the end result is always the same, that WrestleMania sells out. Okay, did I hear it right on Raw? The Judgment Day are challenging the Usos for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Are the tag titles getting a split? I heard that they will take the WWE Championship off of Roman as punishment for the Bloodline invading Raw the last few weeks. Just need them off of him, and Triple H weeding out the last of the overheads from the Vince era. Well, yeah, you're the third person now. Okay, now it's definitely true. Okay, now I know for sure that I missed it on Raw. It could have been a misspeak, or it could be part of the storyline, where if the Usos lose, they say, no, Adam, you said the Raw Tag Team Championships. We still hold the SmackDown. So that could be part of the storyline, or it could have just been an oops on the part of Adam Pearce. We'll know when the Judgment Day wins, if they win. So, and yeah, could the WWE Championship be taken off of Roman? Yes, and I hope it is. I actually don't care how that happens. I don't care if it's hook, crook, messy storyline. Don't care. I've said that for 6 months now. Really, since last year's WrestleMania. I hope that it just comes off him somehow, because Raw needs a top belt, and it's really hurting Raw. They're trying to sell that U.S. title is a top belt. Well, it's only the top belt because of the absence of the real top belt. So, John Cena has gone AWOL. Will we see him back before the Rumble? Maybe the WrestleMania picture will become a little clearer on the 30th anniversary of Raw for the likes of Stone Cold, who I see in social media looks like he's in incredible shape. Thanks and speak soon. Yeah, I think that's also a thing too, right? Like John Cena is rumored to have a match, probably with Austin Theory for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. Stone Cold possibly having a match, looking at the ring shape that he's in right now, which he does look in really good shape. And he's actually had time to prepare, unlike last year. And The Rock versus Roman. I mean, you could have John Cena, Stone Cold, and The Rock, and Brock Lesnar all have a match at WrestleMania this year. Think about that. Think about that. 4 guys that you never thought you'd see on the same pay-per-view again are all within the realm of possibility of having a match at WrestleMania, which also probably added to this ticket sales going so quickly. This is going to be a fun WrestleMania, guys. It's going to be really fun. All right, that's the end of the emails. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to take a pause here and get back to my studio so it doesn't sound so echoey, and get a real microphone in front of me for the voicemails. So until then, I'll be right back with the voicemails, and see you soon.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is DJ Kuzmo, back at it again on your Mailbag show, recording to you live on a Wednesday morning. And before we get to the Veer Mahan Report, I want to talk about 2 things that had transpired that I am so excited about. First and foremost, none other than Hit Row have officially turned heel. That's right, this group now has some sort of clear direction that they're no longer baby faces. That was a suggestion that I made to have this group become a heel faction. Now, number 2, we got this past Monday night a potential reunion of the Hurt Business. That's right, Bobby Lashley is back. Bobby Lashley is back on Monday Night Raw, and it seems to me that MVP is trying to mend some fences with Bobby Lashley so that both of them could get back on the same page, so that we can have the reunion of the Hurt Business of Bobby Lashley, of MVP, of Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. I was always making that vouch to say that these guys should have never broken up to begin with. I know it was all part of Vince McMahon's stupid creative idea, but they are back, and it seems to me that the group is coming together with maybe Omos. Maybe Omos could be aligning themselves with the Hurt Business. Now that, my friends, is a dominant faction to possibly go up against the Bloodline. We could have had that at one of those Survivor Series. But other than that, I am excited to see this reunion of the Hurt Business. I am excited to see the heel faction of Hit Row. No longer are they babyface wannabes, but they are a heel faction for Hit Row. Now, let's get to the Veer Mahan Report. Now, the Veer Mahan Report has been brought to you by the Football Function Podcast. Now, ladies and guys, this weekend is Wildcard Saturday. You want to get your quick fix. You want to get yourself ready. And the best way to get ready and prepared is listen to the Football Function Podcast with our very own Michael Ritter. The same Michael Ritter that does the SmackDown Review Podcast. He does the Football Function Podcast with Terry, with Cousin Mike, with Goose, host with none other than Caleb Grant, a.k.a. The Flash Drive, every single week, breaking down the NFL games. Now that we just have a handful of teams left in the NFL because we're gearing ourselves to the Super Bowl, this is the podcast for you to listen to continue to get yourselves in tune with what's going on in the NFL playoffs, in the wild card round, in the divisional round, and of course, the AFC and NFC championship games and the Super Bowl. Get your quick fix and listen on with the Football Function Podcast. Now, let's get to the Veer Mahaan Report. Now, the Veer Mahaan Report took place last night on NXT, but we did not get an appearance of Veer Mahaan. But I will get to the reason why we did not get an appearance of Veer Mahaan. But we did get the return and the debut of Jinder Mahal. Now, last week I did call him Jobber Mahal, so let me put some respect. Let me put some respect on his name. Jinder Mahal, the modern-day Maharaja, is on NXT, aligning himself with the Indashir of Veer Mahaan and Sangha. So we did get Jinder Mahal and Sangha attacking the Creed brothers. Of course, this led to an impromptu match later on at NXT New Year's Evil, where we had none other than Julius Creed going up against Jinder Mahal. And of course, we did get Jinder Mahal for the victory. And it seems to me that Jinder Mahal has staked his claim that he wants to be a part of this group, that he wants to be a part of the Indashir of my guy, Veer Mahaan and Sangha. Now, let's get to the reason why my guy, Veer Mahaan, did not appear last night. So I just want to have a quick moment of silence. Now, the reason why he did not appear last night was that his father passed away. Papa Veer Mahaan Sr. had passed away a couple of hours before the show happened at NXT New Year's Evil, so he could not make an appearance. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. You know, when somebody passes away, a family member, a friend, you want to take as much time to grieve. So my friend, my boy, Veer Mahaan, take as much time as you need, my friend. I can't wait to see you back on NXT. And like I said, when you come back, we got Jinder Mahal, we got Sangha, we got the new look of the Indashir on NXT. Still making some noise in the NXT Tag Team division. And like I said, all the best to my boy Veer Mahaan. I'll keep praying for your family, keep praying for you as well, my brother. But other than that, my friends, this is DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed day. Stay UC, my friends, and peace.
All right, everybody, that is DJ Kuzmo, and magically my voice sounds a whole lot better, doesn't it? Interesting. It's because I am recording this about 6 hours apart from when I did the other part of this, and I'm here now, and I'm not in the echo chamber that I was. So again, I really don't mean to do that with. I try not to. Let's just say I'm trying to do two jobs at once. You know, I think that tells you where I'm recording it. Basically, in an enclave in my my job. Anyway, so that being said, guys. Okay, and DJ, welcome. Thank you for showing up every single week on the podcast. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the Veer Mahaan report and the energy that you bring to the show every week. And yes, I'm glad you let us know why Veer Mahaan was not here this week. I did not know that Veer Mahaan's father passed away. So seriously, I mean, condolences. I don't mean that in any kind of funny way. Passing. You know, it's funny. Anytime that anybody passes that we know, or even by extension we know, it just, you come back down to earth. We can get caught up in our day and caught up in our weeks and caught up in our months and even years. And then all of a sudden, wham, something happens and then it brings you back down to earth and nothing else matters. It's amazing. And I'm not saying I'm all broken up by Veer Mahaan's father. I'm saying that we can all relate to losing someone. So yeah, condolences to Veer Mahaan's father and his family, obviously his family. And I, agreed. Take as much time as you need. Now, Jinder Mahal joining the Indashir. I like it. I think that that is a nice home for him. And it's amazing that he was actually WWE champion, 5 years ago? He defeated Randy Orton with the Colossus, and remember all that nonsense? And people are losing their minds that Jinder Mahal was WWE champion. I actually, by the way, this isn't on topic, but I didn't hate that run as much as a lot of people did. I thought it was a run that they try to happen. I think a lot of it had to do with Saudi Arabia and their shows that started shortly thereafter and all that. But anyway, yeah. So certainly, DJ, thank you for the input. Thank you for letting us know why and what's going on over there, and the Indus continues to grow. That's a good sign, right? Like if you have an established star like Jinder Mahal join a group like the Indus that's on the rise, that tells you that the Indus is not going anywhere, and they're only going up right now. So that is encouraging if you're a Veer Mahan fan specifically, that group is going to be continuing their ascent in the company. So good stuff there, DJ. And football's happening this weekend, guys. Bet you didn't know that, right? If you're a football fan, this is a fun weekend. Next weekend's fun as well. And if you have a fantasy league, those are over now, and you're either licking your wounds or bragging about your win. And at this point, it is a fun time to be a sports fan. And after this, though, guys, after football comes March Madness, if you're into such things, but shortly thereafter, baseball. Now, some of you grown, but I'm excited about it, right? It's a long season, and baseball's right around the corner already. Pitchers and catchers report in like a month. It's insane. It's quick. It's so crazy how quick things go, especially during the wintertime. So, yes, I would also recommend checking out the Football Function podcast hosted by Michael Ritter, who does our SmackDown review, along with John Carrasco. So thank you to both of them. But definitely check out Football Function, guys. Give it a like. Give it a subscribe, especially this weekend, because we have the wild card weekend, and then several other weekends coming up with the divisional, the AFC, NFC, football, the actual Super Bowl itself, the Pro Bowl, if you care about such things. A lot of stuff coming up. So check out Football Function. And as well, little plug for Ashley Mann here. Check out Ashley Mann's podcast called the Kick-Ash Podcast. She really would appreciate it too. You guys have heard Ashley Mann on the show, and I know that she would appreciate it. So check them out, and like to give it a little bit of love to people that help this show out, to help them grow their own podcasts. So, alrighty, let's get to the next voicemail.
It's Kyle from Baltimore. I wanted to talk about Bianca Belair and her title run throughout the last, 2 years at this point. If you think about it, Bianca Belair really has been a boring champion. For me personally, I think she's a great wrestler, but her character sucks, because it's Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss, those three women in particular, are more interested and more compelling as characters. Mainly Becky Lynch, who's really, to me, is the number one biggest baby face in that women's division on Raw. That's a problem for me, and I think, and Bianca may be a great wrestler, but she's just been kind of mid as far as a champion. Alexa Bliss just last week that that big reaction when she beat down on Bianca. So what does that tell you? So I don't know. So I guess my thing is that, can they really hold off until WrestleMania for Rhea to take the title away from Bianca, honestly, or whoever she faces at WrestleMania? Because I don't know how I can this could last for Bianca as champion for next 3 months, 2 months or whatever. I don't know, but what do you think what's going to happen with... Now, I'm making this call before Raw tomorrow, so we'll see what happens with Alexa and Bianca. Alexa's going to make some type of comment of her actions last week, but is it going to be a problem heading into WrestleMania for Bianca Belair? She's not really getting a big responses anymore like she used to when she was pretty much on SmackDown. The SmackDown, she was the rising star, but now since her feud with really Becky, she's kind of been downhill in terms of the way she's been booked. Because if you think about it, it was about Bianca taking the title away from Becky at WrestleMania, but since then, what has Bianca done? Really nothing interesting. So, what do you think Bianca goes headed into this year? Does she turn heel? But that's the dish we'll call it back.
Hey, Kyle. So with Bianca Belair, I hear you to some degree about her character, because it generally remains unchanged. And right now, the shiny new toys are Alexa and Rhea. So what's new and fresh to a lot of people automatically feels better. But Bianca Belair has stood the test of time with this character. And there have been some low points, but generally I think it's been a success. Has it been a rousing, legendary run? No. Is she boring at times? Yes, she is. But her in-ring ability, I think, makes up for a lot of the lack of character that she may be showing on air. That said, I still think they'll make it to Mania with her as champion and have Rhea drop it there. You could also have Bianca Belair turn heel at WrestleMania, maybe in like if there's a triple threat of sorts, maybe it's Becky, Bianca, and Rhea in a triple threat on the Raw side. If Becky doesn't face Ronda Rousey, which I hope she does because it has to happen. But if there's a triple threat on the women's side on Raw, which I don't think there'll be, but if there is, you could have Bianca Belair attack the babyface after the match, show she's a bad sportsman or sportswoman, and turn her heel. That could happen. And actually, that could, as I'm thinking about it, the crowd may cheer that, kind of like they did with Becky Lynch and Charlotte at SummerSlam 2017, 2018, whatever it was. They turned her into the biggest babyface that WWE had. So they, sometimes you don't know what the reaction is going to be, but I hear you. But it's not a complete failure like Ronda Rousey as SmackDown Women's Champion is, and that they can't wait until WrestleMania with Ronda to take the belt off of her, and they just kind of did it very quickly upon Charlotte's return. Rhea isn't in the same position. She can hold steady and hold the course, and steer the course, rather, and I think still manage to come off as a solid babyface going into WrestleMania, especially opposed to Rhea Ripley, right? Like, you oppose Rhea Ripley, who's a true heel, not like Bianca Belair, or not like Alexa Bliss, who is trying to be booked as a heel, calling herself the face of evil, yet people still cheer that. Like, that doesn't have an effect on people because she's so interesting when she's dark, and she goes all in and she's believable, that I don't think people are going to really take her as a true heel, whereas Rhea Ripley's in a different position. And I think crowning Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania is worth the wait, personally, because Rhea Ripley's on a awesome run, and building that up, it's worth it. Because also, if you haven't seen, I'm sure you have, Rhea and Bianca Belair matches are awesome, really good. They both have a similar style. They're both powerhouse women. They can have a kick-ass match on top of a great story, on top of that's a fresh matchup. It is a WrestleMania main event, just ready-made to go. So I think you wait. Honestly, I'm willing to wait on that one. But no doubt, I think Rhea Ripley more than likely drops it at WrestleMania. Or I'm sorry, Bianca Belair drops it to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. All right. Thanks, Kyle. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Alex, the French guy here, your European champion. Hello, everyone at Low Matt. I wanted to react to the news of this week. I think that pretty much everybody on the show will react about it. Of course, the allegedly selling of the WWE to the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. I just wanted to react and to say to people that in life, as in WWE, you should only focus on results. So what I mean by that is I see a lot of comments, people complaining, saying that, oh no, it's the end for Sami Zayn, for a lot of superstars wanting to not perform in Saudi Arabia. First, them buying the WWE doesn't mean that every show will take place to the place, in fact. So, in fact, they also bought some sports team in Europe. That doesn't mean the sports team coming back to Saudi Arabia. They are pretty much active on the market, or the sports market as a whole. I don't know the strategic goal of this, but what I wanted to say is, all right, it's completely fair to react to this news on a negative way, saying that, oh no, Vince McMahon is going to take the chair of CEO again. But I am saying, let's just see what will happen. So I know it's human to, anticipate in a negative way or in a positive way. I'm just saying, let's just see the results without, being too positive about that or being too negative about it. So let's just see in the weeks to come if the news is confirmed. And for me, that is all that matters is the results. And if WWE fails to provide a good product, that is why competition exists. That is why AEW could, become the number one wrestling company. So I'm not scared about the future because competition always brings the best into people and into companies. So that is what I believe. That is all for me for this week. Bye, guys.
All right, Alex, our European champion, thank you for weighing in this week. Yes, you, like others who have emailed us, and pretty much all the emails were in regards to this, you're taking the calmer approach. I think the more sensible, and I'm not trying to insult anyone that emailed us about, the instant kind of knee-jerk reactions to the allegations WWE was sold. We will definitely cross the bridge when we get there, and you could end up being right. You absolutely, everyone that came in and started yelling and kicking and screaming about WWE being sold and everything's going to collapse and Sammy's leaving and the women are leaving. That's why Stephanie left. Everything's just going to be awful. I get it. And if we get there, we'll get there. But I also had that reaction. And then I am trying to use all the experience I've had with news that comes out like this in my life and taking a step back, as you are, Alex, and going, okay, first of all, it's not confirmed that Saudi Arabia has purchased WWE. In fact, as I was listening to your voicemail, I was just doing a quick search just to make sure I wasn't missing the latest news. And just so you know, the time I'm recording this is around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. So that's as of right now. Okay, so I just did a Google search for WWE sold. And the Sun, thesun.com, says that according to multiple claims, Vince McMahon has sold the WWE to Saudi Arabian owners of Newcastle and plans to return as head of creative. That is what the Sun has said. However, TMZ is reporting WWE sources say company not sold to Saudi Arabia. The comingsoon.net says Vince McMahon reportedly sells WWE to Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. So there are reports all over the place, and there's nothing's confirmed. Once it's confirmed, we can have a conversation. But as I've told you guys, I think we all need to breathe. We all need to let this play out. There's going to be more twists and turns. As I told you at the beginning of this, when this was first announced that Vince McMahon was thinking at that time of coming back, and he was trying to come back, I said, all right. And especially when he appointed himself as the board on the board of directors, and he has the majority shareholder in WWE. So, I said at the time, this is going to be a story that goes on for weeks, if not months, until its final conclusion of whoever sells it or whoever it gets sold to, and whoever eventually takes head of creative and everything. All the dust settles. Until that time, it's going to be very tumultuous with rumors floating around and reportedly this and that and reportedly this and all of it. We need to just try to look at this with a clear head, because it's easy to get caught up in the Twitter mob. It's easy to get caught up in the latest crazy headline. Okay, let's let the chips fall where they may, and as things are confirmed, we can talk about them. It's fun to speculate, but we'll get ourselves in a tizzy doing that, and we're going to be wasting more energy than necessary. I'm not saying I'm going to wait until everything is concluded to talk about it. No. I'm going to talk about things as they are confirmed moving forward. I don't want to talk about projection and conjecture and this and that. Well, oh my God, if Saudi Arabia does, yeah, okay, we can talk about it when it does. Because otherwise, guys, we're going to get twisted in knots. You're going to get lost in the weeds, and the conversation is going to be a waste of effort, okay? But I hear you. I hear you. If it is indeed purchased by Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, we will have a conversation. No doubt about it, right? It's going to be much more fun when things are confirmed. So I know we're all impatient. We want answers now kind of culture, but I want to take the more level-headed approach to this. It's fun to dive in and go ballistic. I agree. It's fun to do. But Alex, I like your approach too. So, all right, buddy, let's get to our next voicemail.
What's up, my wrestling peeps? Rocky T here from Houston, Texas. Already left my email, but I just got done listening to the Raw review, and I had a few things to say real quick. Number one, man, can Dolph ever sell anything that Samoan spike that ended the match. If you caught the replay, you would actually see he actually got hit in the shoulder, but in real time, there's no way you would know. He sold it just absolutely perfect. Second, yes, Matt, MJF will be doing a 60-man Iron Man match against Bryan Danielson if Bryan can win every week from now until February 8th. So he has to win every match, whatever competitors that MJF puts up against him. He wins all the matches, he gets the title match, and Bryan calls the stipulation, which is for the Iron Man match. And then real quick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Real quick, yes, I agree. Everything that Dom did on Raw was gold. The handkerchief, being called out about being in jail for a few hours. Everything he said, yeah, I took it. I know it was a little hokey, but still, super like gold. But anyways, I had this thought after Finn got hurt and Dom was put into the match. I know they're not gonna, of course, they're not gonna win the belts, but if they were ever to win, and I hope they do sometime this year, after Usos lose at Mania, presumably. I would like to see Rhea win the belt at Mania, and then maybe a few months later, Judgment Day wins the tag titles, and I would like to see them invoke the Freebird rule. I know there was rumors about trios titles, which is something we absolutely do not need, but why not have a couple of these factions all embrace the Freebirds rule, and maybe have a couple of teams, a couple of trios just use the Freebird rule and hold the tag titles, throughout the year or whatever. But I got a little mixed up with my words there, but I just want to see what you thought about that. That's pretty much it. So I guess I'll talk to everybody next week. Later, guys.
Hey, Rocky T. Looking forward to our conversation, by the way, about the Royal Rumble review. It's going to be so much fun. So much. I mean, the Royal Rumble is going to be an epic event. I really think that there's going to be 2 or 3 massive returns and things to talk about. So in just a couple of weeks, right? It's amazing. Boom, 2 weeks from now. Well, not exactly today, but 2 weeks generally is the Royal Rumble. And we were just saying like 8-9 weeks. It was just Survivor Series. See how quick things go? It's insane. But Dolph's selling is on point. I can't say enough about Dolph and his selling of a move that was not executed to perfection. He's the kind of guy that most people would like working with because he makes everyone look better, and that's an asset that you can't ever go wrong with as a wrestler. So MJF and Bryan Danielson having a 60-minute Iron Man match. If Bryan Danielson can win his match, every match he has between now and February 8th. I love MJF. Man, I love it. I would imagine he's the one that put that stipulation in place that you're going to have to win every match for like the next month. I love it. MJF is just effing gold. I mean, I would imagine this match is going to happen, and it's going to happen because if they didn't want it to happen, they wouldn't advertise it. But it's going to be a fun journey on the way there. I still loosely keep up with AEW. And specifically what MJF is doing. But cool. All right. So what else? You asked about Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day and all that. Okay, so yeah, I'm still on board for Rhea Ripley winning the women's championship at WrestleMania. I've been on board with that for many, 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 many weeks now. I think it's the absolute right decision. Judgment Day winning the tag titles. Now, I spoke about this earlier in the show that the Judgment Day were awarded a Raw Tag Team Championship match later or whenever. I actually don't know when that's going to take place. Not a just unified tag team titles. But again, I don't know if that's part of the storyline or a slip up by Adam Pearce. Because if it's not, that means that somehow just by Adam Pearce's words, he somehow split the belts. I don't know. If that's the case, then I could see the Usos dropping the Raw tag titles to the Judgment Day, having Rhea Ripley win the women's championship at WrestleMania, and boom, you've got a faction that is filled with gold as heels. Now, Finn Balor versus Edge, which is rumored to be Hell in a Cell for Mania, you'll probably have Edge win that, but that'll be the only loss for the Judgment Day. The other 2 matches that involve championships, I would imagine that they are going to maintain. Rhea will win, and the Judgment Day will either win or maintain their Raw Tag Team Championships if the tag belts are split. So, yes. And Freebird rules, yeah, I thought about that too, and I'm thinking, well, how does this work, right? Freebird rules meaning like not if you have a group that has more than 2 people, it doesn't have to be those 2 people that are in the match that won the belts to be technically the ones to ever defend them. You can have whoever's in the group represent the championship match. So in that case, you could have Dom and Finn be the ones to challenge. You could have Priest and Dom do it, or whatever combination. And I like that. Yeah, I thought about that too. So I think that they should implement that. I mean, New Day did it and has done it for really 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 years. But thanks, Rocky T. And let's get to our final voicemail.
Hi, Matt. This is Randy in LA again, the guy that can't stand Bianca Belair. I wanted to get your thoughts on 2 questions. With Vince back, what do you think mainstream celebrities are going to do? Vince was essentially canceled, and now he's back. He was the equivalent of Roseanne Barr or Kevin Spacey. You messed up, now go away. Well, Vince has rebelled against cancel culture rules, and it's coming back. If someone, I'm personally someone who can't stand cancel culture and the whole current political culture scene. That's a whole other thing. I know we don't talk about politics. So I find this scenario fascinating. Do you think mainstream celebrities like The Rock, John Cena, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul can afford to go anywhere near Vince and work with someone who's essentially been canceled? That's my first question. Now my second question is about Bayley. I keep hearing that something is not connecting or something's off with this current version of Bayley. I'm not sure if it's promo and personality-wise. Maybe she has become a bit too JBL in her promo content. Bad City, attack fans, just very, I don't know how to say JBL. Or maybe it's in ring and physically. This is going to sound a little crazy, but do you see a difference in Bayley's body as she's gotten older? She has in no way gotten fat. She still has a ripped stomach, flat stomach, but her stature looks a little thicker, a little bigger, and maybe it's affected some of her movement and athleticism in the ring. Or I'm just crazy and it's just the ACL injury and ring rust. And anyways, if you could, what are your thoughts on what's off about Bayley? All right. Thanks, Matt.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for calling in. Great questions here. So let's start at the beginning. Vince and what is it going to do with the mainstream celebrities? How does it affect them? How do they view Vince? Good question. I remember saying this, that when Vince's allegations came down, that it may be affecting the Rock potential match with Roman Reigns, and given that the Rock doesn't want to be associated with someone that, even if he in real life is still friends, doesn't publicly want to be associated with him, given what happened and the Rock's status in Hollywood and all that. So I think it's honestly, I don't want to say it's, well, okay, let's assume Vince comes back. Well, he already is back as the head of the board. Right? He's on the board of directors, but let's take it a step further. Let's say Vince goes back to his old role of head of creative or co-head of creative with Triple H, whatever. I still believe enough time has passed where the news cycle is such that, things pass in like a day or two and then people don't care and they're on to the next thing. So given that, it kind of benefits McMahon where, okay, even if The Rock associates himself with WWE and Vince is back, people will be like, oh yeah, remember that Vince thing? I don't think they'll make The Rock connection with Vince going, oh man, what is The Rock thinking? This is bad for his career. Because WWE is huge, right? Like he's not working with Vince on screen. He's there to have a match that most fans want to see. It's best for business, as they say. So I think given how quickly the news cycle turns over and people's attention just gets onto the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and the fact that The Rock can make a bunch of money off this and it's the match people want to see and it's really this year or never, I don't think it would have much of an effect. And I think Rock would still do it. Other celebrities, I don't know. Again, you could point to the news cycle and people's attention spans being super low. I don't think it would it would really decide one way or the other, because I think money talks more than anything for celebrities, specifically too. Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, whoever. I think money speaks louder, and that it's been long enough where people would be like, yeah, that Vince thing, but let's move on, right? There's other things, right, that are going on that are more important, more scandalous. So now, if Saudi Arabia purchases them, then we got something to talk about. But again, one step at a time. Next, you had a question about the cancel culture. Yeah, and I don't talk about politics on the show either, but sometimes it's inevitable, and politics bleed into WWE, and I hate when it does. But Vince and bucking cancel culture that's just Vince McMahon, right? Like, you knew Vince McMahon wasn't going to stay down. He's going to buck the system. That's what he does. So Bayley, final question here. I don't know what it is right now. She feels very uninteresting. She's just not connecting right now. And it's weird to say for Bayley, who's right now, even if you stopped her career now, has had a Hall of Fame career, I believe. And you would hope that there's many more days in front of her. But she just feels like she's disconnected from the audience. And like, I don't really care what she's doing right now. She feels just kind of there and going through the motions, and she's not doing anything important. And it is weird to see that. I see Bayley and I'm like, same with Becky Lynch. She's kind of in a rut too. But as I've said earlier in the show, I think that come Rumble, once that comes and goes, things could change, because then we'll start to see the WrestleMania picture take shape. So I hope the Rumble is kind of a reset for them in some way, whether it's a great performance in the Rumble or maybe interference in a match or some kind of tease for a WrestleMania match. I don't know. But Becky Lynch and Bayley right now is just kind of boring, and it's weird, right? Now, as far as her body goes, I honestly, I did kind of notice that, but I'm always thinking, well, she always had kind of a muscular, curvy body. So maybe I just haven't really taken a look at her body lately. But I would agree, overall, if you put the picture side by side from like a few years ago to now, that she has put on, I think, muscle. I think it's muscle. And, so credit to her, and I don't know if it's having an effect on her moves. I don't think her moves are the problem, though. It's her character right now that is in just a rut. And I think right now we're just experiencing a downtime for Bayley. All characters go through this, some more extreme than others, some deeper ruts than others, some higher highs than others. But it's the cyclical nature of characters, ebbs and flows, things, characters get attention, then they just go by the wayside, and they get a lot of attention. They get, most characters go through that. Most wrestling characters. So I think it's just a downtime for Bayley, and she could easily be resurrected into a very important main player. I think what would actually help her is to get the hell out of that group that she created. That was exciting at first, but it has really not caught on. I got to be honest. Damage Control needs to go away. We have enough factions, for God's sakes, in WWE. So Bayley on her own is probably the first thing that needs to happen. Have Dakota Kai and Io Sky just have the tag belts, which, by the way, you remember that they have the tag belts, right? I mean the collective you, not just you, Randy. Like, it's amazing. WWE just forgets that they have a women's tag team championship until it's time to go, oh crap, that's right, we have one. We gotta pretend we have a division. Let's throw a bunch of random people together and call it a division. It's embarrassing. I hate it. But I think that Io Sky and Dakota Kai can be a formidable tag team. They want to stay champion, fine. But Bayley is right now the concern. She needs to get out of that group and go solo. That's where she shines the best. So that's what I think. I don't think Bayley's in any danger. She just has been kind of irrelevant for quite some time. And it's a rut. It happens. But she's so talented and has, such name brand value, and is good on the microphone and is good in the ring, that I'm not really worried about it. I think she can pull herself out of it with a little bit of a good creative story, and, some TV time. But that's what she needs, because she's on the Hulu version, she's barely there. She's almost never there. So if you only watch Hulu, you're probably wondering, where the hell's Bayley? Unless you watch the full version of Raw, you haven't seen Bayley on Hulu in many weeks. It's bizarre. But yeah, so that's what I think. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, all the callers, all the emailers. again, I apologize for the microphone quality at the beginning, but in order to get this show pumped out on a on a Thursday now, it was necessary. I had no other choice. I kind of do double duty and try to get what I can get done and double up on things, if you know what I mean. And so that's the best I can do. I know that it's not fun listening to an echoey room. So you'd rather listen to a high quality mic with, no sound bouncing off the walls. But, hey, it's kind of a got to do what I got to do situation. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for all of the contributions. You guys can go ad free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. And also on Apple Podcasts, there's a ad free button that allows you to get 99 cents a month or $10 for the entire year. Even if we do a price increase, $10 a year with 2 months for free. How about that? So thank you everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. Take care, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.